RTN's AI share group. We are excited to be here today. We talk on this share group about artificial intelligence solutions that are happening today in the restaurant industry. We like to bring different speakers on who can zoom through different applications and let us know what they're seeing, what's really taking shape, what's taking hold in the restaurant industry today when it comes to AI. There's so much noise out there. So we like to cut through the noise and bring the people who are actually doing it, give them a platform to speak. And so I am Angela Diffly, the co-founder of the Restaurant Technology Network, and this is one of the best parts of my job. So I'm excited to be here today to introduce these amazing speakers and run through some of the cool new applications that are happening. So with that, let's get started. Our agenda today, we have Nomad Go. They created a big buzz, I know, at FS Tech, so we were excited to have them on the call today. Spatial AI for inventory, it's a hot topic. Excited to see them today. Incept AI, next-gen AI voice. These folks hail from brands like AWS and Presto, so excited to have them on the call. Vox AI, multilingual voice AI for QSRs. As we know, QSRs are probably the biggest, quickest adopters of voice bots, especially in the drive-through. So we're excited to have Vox AI on here to explore what's going on there. SignalFlare.ai, they are doing some really interesting things with data. And so we want to hear all about what is happening over there with decision intelligence and AI and how they're supercharging data from multiple sources to really help restaurants really operationalize the data and make it actionable. So we're excited to hear from them today too. A little bit of housekeeping notes for everyone who's joining in the participant panel. We would love for you to insert your brand next to your name, just so we know who's on the call. It's particularly because we like to have a Q&A session for these folks. So we'd love to know who's asking the questions when you do ask the questions. Also, we ask you to take advantage of the chat. After each speaker takes the floor, or even during their talk, you're welcome to throw some questions in the chat, and they know that they're going to be monitoring that chat and they're going to be answering you directly. And hopefully we'll have time for a few questions live right after each of the speakers finishes their presentation. So with that, we're going to get ready and go because we've got amazing speakers and we want to give them each enough time to really get through what's going on with their unique solutions today. So first up, we have David Greschler, the CEO of Nomad Go. Hello, David, and welcome to the show today.
Hi there, and thanks, Angela, for having me. Love RTN, so I'm really honored to be able to talk about Nomad Go. And so, yeah, let me start. Look, there's a lot of talk about AI this and AI that, and sort of either solving every problem in the world or causing every problem in the world. It's unclear where that's all heading. But we're using AI to solve a problem that I think most people thought would never go away, which is the pain of counting inventory, right? Nobody likes inventory. Nobody. They hate doing it. They have to do it at 10:30 at night. They've got to go into all the crevices of the back of house and the front of house and go find that inventory. And then, it's just tiring. It's boring, brain numbing. And, what we do is effectively eliminate all that. One of the other problems with inventory is that because it's so brain numbing, it's highly inaccurate. We work with some of the very largest QSRs in the world, and their estimate is that accuracy for inventory runs about 85%. That's a problem because obviously, if you're only ordering with 85% accuracy, you're going to get out of stocks, which means unhappy customers, or you're going to get food waste, which directly impacts your bottom line. And so, whether it's the length and the impact of labor costs or the inaccuracies, either of those are just huge pains for people. And then finally, you don't have happy employees if you're having them do a really boring job when what they want to do is engage with customers. So how do we solve this problem that's been there really since the dawn of time? I mean, people have been counting inventory by hand since the beginning of time, whether it's a store or something of value. What we do is we've got a technology called Spatial AI, which means that we understand the world in 3D. And what that means is that we don't just, recognize that that Oatly there that's sitting there, but we're also able to, even though it's in a row, count how many there are. And you can see it in this picture here where, it's four out of five. We also can talk about, how much is available for that row. So capacity as well. But basically, by understanding the world in 3D, we're able to tell you with 99% accuracy what is actually on your shelves, in your make lines, in your fridges, or wherever else, on your pallets, wherever else you store inventory. And again, you'll see this in the video. It's super fast. Our customers see between a 7 to 10 times speed improvement compared to inventory. One of our big customers, just for a certain portion of their inventory, takes 45 minutes today. With Nomad Go, it's taking 6 minutes, so it's a 7.5% increase. And of course, more strategically, because it's fast, you're saving time. Because it's highly accurate, you're reducing your food waste or your out of stocks. And what it's giving you is just a much more agile supply chain approach. So I'm not just going to talk about it, I'm going to show this. And we're going to start with a video. I'm going to narrate this video, but you will see what this video shows you is Nomad Go in action across many different kind of environments. And so if you can push the button, Angela, you'll see here. So here you see the person moving with an iPad. They just go up to a shelf and exactly you'll see that there are not just the item being recognized, but the number of items in that row. Here's a make line where, again, this understanding of the world in 3D gives people percentages of what's left. Here are cups, one of the most boring things in the world to count. And here are boxes, which, by the way, you don't need a barcode for. And another scenario that a lot of people see in QSR is looking inside of boxes and being able to understand how much is there. And then finally, things like thaw racks, any kind of environment can be counted with Nomad Go. You saw the speed, right? It's almost instantaneous. You saw the accuracy. The other thing about it, really important, is okay, that sounds great, David, but like, boy, is this going to chew up my network? Is this going to, am I going to need a lot of hardware and cameras, things like that? The answer is no. Literally, we leverage iPhones and iPads today, the Pro series, and we use all the sensors on there. And this is a very important thing. Today you hear about AI being sent to the cloud and you having requirements that require like burning down half the Amazon. All the AI you saw on that screen is happening on this device, whether it's the phone or the iPad, all of it. So the only thing we use the cloud for is basically give me your list of SKUs that you want me to report on. I'll go count them for you. I'll tell you about capacity. I'll also tell you about location, right? I'll tell you that it was on this shelf or that shelf. I'll tell you about capacity, all these other pieces of data. But that's just text data that I send up back to the cloud. So there's no, this works offline, right? Because a lot of people have storage areas where there's no network at all. So when they get back onto the network, we send the data up. There's no sending photographs over the network, anything like that. It is, what we call on-device AI. Everything is happening here. And that's what makes this very scalable because people go, oh man, I've got hundreds and hundreds of stores. How's your back end going to support that? Like I said, we're just sending text file ups. It's very simple. And that's important. So that's important also because all you need to go buy is an iPad or an iPhone Pro, right? You saw how easy it is. What we find is literally it's like driving a car. The first time people use it, they kind of get used to it a little bit. And by the third time, their speed of scanning goes down dramatically. It's very easy to deploy. We don't need any special networks or anything along those lines. And like I said, and I think you can see it, it's like a video game. I mean, it really is a lot of fun. People enjoy doing it. So they go from the most hated job to the most fun job with this. So how does this apply? And if you go to the next slide, you'll see this. Oh, we're triggering the video again, but if you click next, I think it'll. Okay, so There's three general areas inside a restaurant where this applies. And if you hit the next, we go to the first area, what you will see is, of course, the obvious, the back of house. That area, of course, you saw it in the videos, being able to count inventory. A lot of people realize, yes, we get this incredible labor savings, and sure, that's a great benefit, but it also means we can do it more frequently. Because one of the things that inventory has suffered from is because it takes so much time, people don't do it frequently enough. So now they can do it on a daily basis instead of maybe a weekly basis. And that means that they're getting much more refreshed data on their inventory. Secondly, delivery validation. As we all know, folks inside of restaurants have a lot to do. And when that delivery comes in, there's the person with the invoice and they're like, yeah, I'll sign it. And they often don't validate that what was delivered is there. Well, and you saw it with these, the boxes that I showed in that video. You can now do that very quickly. And then finally, front of house. A lot of folks might have merch, might have items stored in the front of house. Well, just as much as we do the back of house, we can also do the front of house. So if we go to the next and final slide here, there we go. There's the three kind of categories. Keep going ahead here. Really, and this is a case study of one of our customers where they literally saw 500% ROI. They were able to reduce labor costs. We all know labor costs are a huge issue. And so this ability to not only reduce it by being able to be so much faster, but another key issue, one of our customers previously only had the managers do inventory because, of course, it's a very important piece of data and they needed to trust that data. Now, because it's so fast and so easy and so accurate, anybody in the store can do it. So it frees up the manager and allows other folks who, cost less to be able to do inventory. Second key part that drove this case study is the accuracy. And again, because, you've got, like I said before, because this is 99% accurate instead of 85% accurate, you've got less waste, less out of stocks. All those pieces play into, a reduction in cost. And finally, as you can see here on the last one, waste. Being able to reduce that, being able to tie it there. So those are the slides I have. I didn't, at the end of the day, this is a pretty simple product, right? It's a simple pain point that anybody who's been in restaurants knows deeply, right? You can see that it's faster. You can see it's more accurate, and you can see it's a lot more fun for your employees. It's simple to deploy, just uses, standard devices, no special network required, and easy to train on. And so with that, if anybody has any questions, I'd love to get in there.
Looks like we have a question in the chat, David.
Sure.
We have a few questions in the chat. So Michael S., did you want to chime in and ask your question directly to David?
Good afternoon, David.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious. The software looks amazing, by the way, and totally, we've all been there. But my question is, once I get it onto the software and upload it, does it connect to, or is it possible to download to like a Compete or a 365 or some other, because once I have the counts, and I'm sure you have the answer to this, now I have to marry it with a value.
Yeah, no, Michael, I am so glad you asked this because I should have mentioned it as part of the presentation. So absolutely, we're not an island, right? Because we can't be. We've got to know what you want us to look for, and we've got to report on that. And so some of our customers have custom IMS systems, and we integrate with that. But a lot of our customers, of course, use back office systems, like you mentioned, Restaurant 360, Synergy Suite, Partech, Crunch Time, and so on. So we are working on integrations with all of them. We just actually completed the one with Partech. And basically, what that means is that we can read in a master list of SKUs, which tells us which ones we should be looking for, and we also export out to those systems seamlessly. When they just hit the submit button, it goes straight to their systems. So that count, which previously they've had to do by, literally tapping on a computer, now all goes away. So yeah, all that integration is there. If people don't have a system, we have ways to, provide the data to them. But almost everybody out there has an integrate, is using a back office, or for the larger players have their own back office systems. So yeah, great question. Thank you for asking. It's got to be
Thanks
part
for
of
the
my
question,
presentation.
Michael. Yeah, we have another question in the chat, but why don't we get to Robert Note's question with his hand up so we can have a verbal
Yeah.
question really quickly and answer it as succinctly as you can, please. And then you can answer Paul Molnari's question in the chat.
Yeah.
Thank you, Angela. David, great presentation. My question has to do with accuracy. Can you speak to how accurate the data is, especially when you showed that video of the box, the container that had all those, looked like butter cups. Can you speak to the accuracy?
Yes, another great question. Thank you. So, this has been a long journey to get to this product where we're at. And, we started with fixed cameras and realized, well, that's a useless, painful, unscalable solution, right? Part of where we landed, where there still is a human in the loop, what we've learned is that just like ChatGPT, right? It's usually right, but it's not always right. The difference is we've got a human in the loop. We've got a human behind that screen seeing the results in real time. And what we've done is when it's inaccurate, when it, maybe says 4 and it's really 5, or if it says, oh, it's orange juice and it's really grapefruit juice, right? You've got this human there, and it's a little hard to see it in that video, but we've got an interface that's almost game-like where you can just tap paddles to sort of say, no, it's actually 5. And you can overwrite the AI, right? Or if you're like, oh, it's not orange juice, it's grapefruit juice, you can go in there and use your voice and go, you can kind of point at and go grapefruit juice. And so the reason we can claim this 99% accuracy is because the AI piece does the bulk of the work, but because you've still got a human a little bit behind there, you can make those adjustments in real time. And that's why, all the customers we work with, they go, yeah, it really is like 99% accurate at the end of the day.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And please answer any other questions in the chat. We'll move on to our next speaker, but this is an awesome, engaging conversation. So thank you for the questions. Keep them coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Move to Incept AI. Thank you, David. Wonderful presentation. Incept AI, we have on board Justin Foster, who's the co-founder. Hi, Justin.
Hey, what's up, Angela? Hey, everybody. David, first of all, I think your technology is just amazing. It is one of the coolest applications of restaurant AI that I've ever seen. It's so practical. And I heard you had quite the following at FS Tech the other week. You were basically the belle of the ball out there. So great work. Angela, I want to thank you as well as the RTN team for having me on this webinar today. Incept AI is a brand new startup. I really appreciate RTN's support of startups in the restaurant tech community in general. We're literally 4 people. We just signed our very first pilot with a big brand. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to share what it is that we're working on. We can go ahead and move to the next one. So my understanding is there have actually been quite a few voice AI providers that have been on this webinar in the past. I think we have a few participants that are in our audience here today, some of my former colleagues from Presto. And I think we even have another voice AI provider that's presenting a little bit later. So I'll try not to be too repetitive with anything that they might say. And feel free, by the way, for the guys at Vox AI, if you have any questions or you want to add anything to anything I'm saying, feel free to go out of turn and pop in. Awesome, thanks. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the challenges that are perpetuating the industry's adoption of voice AI in general. This is a challenge that QSRs, fast casual restaurants have been trying to deal with for, the labor challenges have been, really issues since even before the start of the pandemic. Many of the brands today that are adopting voice AI for order taking, whether that's in the drive-through or whether that's over the phone, are doing so because they're trying to make the existing labor that's in the restaurant more efficient and potentially pull labor off of the floor as we're contending with higher minimum wages especially in California, but in other places throughout the country. Another big reason why folks are adopting voice AI is just to create a more consistent guest experience, right? When the restaurant gets really busy, folks get behind on orders, perhaps there's a line at the counter. It's just not possible for staff to always deliver that same high quality interaction for guests that they expect. And then last, a key reason why restaurants are adopting voice AI for order taking in general is to allow for more consistent upselling, right? Many restaurant operators think that the staff is doing a great job upselling to combos, making meals large, adding additional items. But at the end of the day, we really see it's only about 25 to 30% of the staff that are consistently upselling. And of course, with voice AI, it will do it all of the time. So we can go ahead and move on to the next one. Now, there have been a couple of major headlines around, voice AI really just in the last few months. I would characterize the industry as a whole right now as being kind of in its teenage years. If you look at the adoption of voice AI in the drive-through today, looking just in North America, less than 0.5% of drive-throughs are using this technology. And if you look at that more broadly, for voice AI order taking over the phone, it's less than 5% of all restaurants that could be using voice AI order takers are doing so. And a big reason behind that is because the technologies that have been used for voice AI to date have experienced challenges with scaling, accuracy, as well as naturalness of interaction and latency. The two predominant models that have been in place to date are one, something that's called natural language understanding. This type of technology was used by some of the first generation providers in the market. It tends to be very fast, but also it tends to not be very accurate, with roughly only 75 to 80% of orders being able to be completed without the need to escalate to a restaurant staff member. And of course, if restaurant staff members are having to take over an order, you're not able to potentially peel labor off of the floor. And then the second type of technology that's deployed pretty widely today is David mentioned the use of their built-in human in the loop for Nomad Go. I think that's an amazing example of how human in the loop can be effective, because you have a restaurant staff member that's right there that can correct the inventory. But when it comes to order taking for voice AI, most of the solutions that are out today do rely on a human in the loop in the background. So this is either a person that's at a call center that can take over an order if it doesn't go well, or it's someone that's invisible kind of in the back end keying orders into the point of sale system. And the challenge with that type of solution is it can be slow because the handoff between the AI to the actual human order taker takes time. And then the other challenge there is that it can lead to a bit less of a natural experience. And of course, there's a cost component that makes it challenging for restaurants to scale up. So we can go ahead and move to the next one. There are some restaurants today that, and I'll note Wendy's is probably the one that's on the leading edge of this. I saw we have someone from Yum here in the audience as well, that are basically deploying foundation models on their own. So these are not using sort of the NLU type of a model or the human in the loop type of a model that I mentioned, but instead they're taking these large foundation models like OpenAI's GPT-4o or Google's Gemini, and they're basically implementing those models on their own. What we see right now is the accuracy of these solutions tends to be kind of petering out in the low 80%. So 80 to 83, 84%, meaning that the last 16, 15% of the orders still need to be completed by humans. And then I mentioned earlier as well, the BPOs, as well as the human interactions, and the cost is a really, really big deal right now. So today, on average, drive-through voice AI solutions run roughly $1,250 per month per location. There are some that are a little bit less than that. And then for phone AI ordering, right now, the average is roughly $250 to $300. So it's a significant investment. And this actually represents an opportunity for franchisees as well as operators, because the cost of these foundation models is coming down so precipitously. We really do think that there's an opportunity for these costs to come down even more right now. So let's go ahead and move to the next one. I wanted to go ahead and share a demo with you. So any of you can feel free to call this number. I've got a couple others as well that you can check out after the webinar. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to do a live order. This is basically, you know, all AI. There's no human in the loop that's involved, and let's see how it works.
Thank you for calling Firehouse Sub Foothill Ranch. We can help answer questions, book your pickup order, or text you a link to place your order online. How may I assist you today?
I'd like to order a sub, please.
Would you like me to text you a link to place your order online, or would you like me to take your order over the phone?
Over the phone's fine.
What can I get for you today?
What kind of specials do you guys have going on right now?
Would you like to hear about our limited time offers?
Sure.
Would you like the pepperoni pizza meatball sub, barbecue Cuban sub, or Firehouse Captain's Club?
What's on the Captain's Club?
Would you like the Firehouse Captain's Club, which comes with white bread, side pickle, grilled chicken, pepper jack, crushed red pepper flakes, Firehouse Hero sauce, saddle pepper sauce, lettuce, onion, tomato, and mayo?
Yeah, can I get that? But I don't want any mayo and no onion, please.
One Firehouse Captain, no onion, no mayo. What size would you like for your Firehouse Captain's Club? Small, medium,
Large.
large for your Firehouse Captain's Club. Is there anything else I can add to your order?
What kind of soups do you have?
Would you like to hear about our Firehouse Chili or loaded potato soup?
Yeah, I'll get a loaded potato soup.
One loaded potato soup. Would you like a cup or a bowl of the loaded potato soup?
Bowl's good.
Bowl for your loaded potato soup. Is there anything else I can get for you?
No, that's it.
What name would you like your pickup order to be under? It may help to spell out the name.
Justin, Justin.
Great. Here's what I have for your order. Pickup order. One large Firehouse Captain, no onion, no mayo. One bowl of loaded potato soup. Total $30.49. Ready in 5 to 10 minutes. Would you like to submit your order to the restaurant?
Sure.
I am not able to hear you speak.
Yes.
Can you repeat?
Yes.
Order submitted. Thank you. Your order should be ready in 5 to 10 minutes. Please.
I was a little nervous to make it a blue screen of death there, but it looks like it went through. And again, feel free to call this and check it out on your own anytime if you like. You can go ahead and move on to the next one. We're a super small team. This is who we are right now. We're basically 4 people, super excited about our advisory board. We've got lots of folks from leading fast casual as well as QSRs. Go ahead and move on to the next slide. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you have any questions about the demo, feel free to reach out to me, Justin at Incept AI, or that's my cell phone right there. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Justin. Any questions for Justin before we move to our next speaker? Feel free to throw them in the chat too. So Justin, you can watch the chat and we will move along to Vox AI.
Hey, familiar face.
Yeah, we've got Koen Schmitz and we have got Maurice Kroon on the call. So welcome.
Hello there.
Way.
Thank you so much, Angela. Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. For us, it's good evening. We're based in Amsterdam, so we're not having those sweatshirts with the logos on it. Instead, we have wooden red clocks with the logo on it.
Oh, cool.
Really nice wooden shoes. Anyway, my name is Koen Schmitz. I'm with Vox, the CCO, and with me is colleague and founder Maurice Kroon. Maurice, well, you can do your own interaction later on. A bit of my background. So I come from a family business in the Netherlands. We always have built drive-throughs with the communication system and the speaker post, doing so from 87 onwards, still upwards to today. And since this year, I joined Vox in this journey in delivering the best voice AI solution for drive-through. Well, we're not the only one. Come to that one later on. But Maurice, if happy to do your own introduction, just short.
Yeah, sure. I'm Maurice. I've a consulting background and especially like an AI background. We started this last year, October. So now we're 1 year further, and Koen joined in March. And yeah, the rest I'll tell you in a private personal demo. Koen?
All right, Angela, if you can click away. So basically, what we say, could do one more click. So what we saw in the industry is that the average voice AI solutions, it's not very human-like as in the interaction, right? It's hey, can I get a burger? And then it adds up to 5, 6, maybe even 7 seconds of latency, and then say, okay, what would you have? Maurice, he came up with a demo and nailed that one, having a very fast solution, which was really interesting. So if you can click on the next one. And basically, keep clicking for another 5 times, Angela, I think. So I think here, the challenges in the industry, I don't think we have to mention more. The only thing I come across here in the Netherlands was a KFC, which opened 3 to 4 months later than expected based on staff shortages. Customer expectations it's one which is rising. And then we have, of course, the margin loss and inefficiency as in the drive-thrus, knowing that the staff who are working in the restaurants doing multiple jobs at the same time.
I think Justin already summarized it really, really nicely for us. So thank you, Justin.
Now going to the solution again, the main key, the USP we had, and the key KPI, I think, truly, to my belief, is for an adaptation broader in the world in this type of solutions, is the human interaction we would like to have with an AI, and that first comes with a latency. So well, Maurice, maybe you can tell something more about this one in terms of more from a tech perspective. But
Yeah,
speed to be the key as from a customer experience, to go to the drive-thru and say, hey, can I get a burger? Sure, what would you like to have? Just to get that human-like experience.
Yeah, exactly. So we find it, or actually also when we talk to customers, it's extremely important for like tech to when it's really gets like, in order for it to get adopted, it really needs to be like better than the human, not just replacing it and making it cheaper, but really better. And so we're aiming to really become better. And one of those items is really about speed.
No. The other one is it's language. America is, of course, still predominantly in it's a QSR and the fast food and drive-through focused country. Here in Europe, there are far less. So the market on the US is still bigger than the rest of the world. That sums it all up, as in if we want to have a bigger market share here in Europe, we need to support multiple languages.
Yeah, so basically, we're forced to be multilingual from the start. So that's good. So if we're talking about US, it's basically English, Spanish, but also Spanglish. So it's also the combination that we support.
Yeah. And same thing as we have here in Europe. So we support at this point 85 languages. And as we call it, have there with also a understanding of the world. So it's not scripted. We call it as in a free form solution. So you can basically ask it anything, but it always comes back with an answer and no error, or not saying, hey, I need to get it to a human, or a human that steps into the process saying, hey, can I help you? Because I'm hearing you're having some difficulties. And the last one is that, again, it's 100% AI-based solution. So in this case, we're not using any human in the loop. It's AI. Well, I always say it's AI training and building AI. It sounds easier than it is, I think, Maurice, but
it's a good summary. That's good. But so it's again, thanks, Justin from Incept, because basically you described already like the 2 differences. So we are the LLM approach, and we're running our own models, basically, in short. And so that means that you can ask it any way you want. There's no structure. It just has an objective to basically help the customer make the order as good as helpful as possible.
Yeah. Benefits, of course. Yeah, shave of tens of seconds. We probably all seen and read the Inside InTouch report over the last week. Shaving off only 5 seconds of your drive-through saves you $9,500 on a yearly basis per store. So yeah, just driving up to the speaker post and directly being served and answered by a friendly voice AI will help shaving off those seconds. Average order value by consistent upsell, of course, and then the increased efficiency for your staff and labor who was working and is available to focus on other jobs, just to focus on the order accuracy, which is another thing, as in get me no ice if I say no ice instead of, which was the fun inaccuracy part of the report as well. Give me one more click, Angela. That will be the last one for this one. And of course, to me, the most important one is the improved customer experience.
Did it work? Sorry. Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, sorry.
We're good. Okay, can you do another one?
Sure.
Another click. Now, from an integration point of view, we've seen quite a number of solutions being out there, where the answer is, okay, so if we go live and over time, we will become better. We just tried to turn it around and say, well, we just want to deliver the best experience for the customer from day one. So we delivered the training method of the solution is a bit different. So what we do is as soon as you sign off, we do the installation in the connection to the base station. And it can be either with a extra piece of hardware or with the Nexio system from HME. We're fully integrated into the Nexio environment and platform. It's just a matter of flipping a switch, basically, and then we can start listening in. At the same time, of course, we need to do the POS integration and the digital menu screens. We are already fully integrated with NCR and Oracle Symphony as cloud POS solutions. And then the continuous data validation. That is where call it the special sauce is happening from an AI perspective. And I'll leave that one to you, Maurice.
Yeah. So not to get into too much detail, but basically in short, we're listening in from day one, and that's all it does. So it's just listening in for the conversations that your human staff has right now with your customers. And then every day we are making we're making a simulation between the human agent that performed the order and us as the AI. And we're checking for speed, accuracy, and upsell. Basically, those are the 3 metrics that we're evaluating for, and then you get a dashboard for that. Within basically after 100 days, you see in the graph that basically the AI is outperforming the human in several of these metrics, and then it's the decision of management team to basically switch, and it's just a click away, and then basically Vox will take over the ordering from the human. So the key that Koen is saying here is that we focus on the customer experience with very little risk. So we only go live after we have the metrics to prove that the accuracy is fully adapted to the local accents, to having the colloquial or synonyms of particular items, and so and that the error rate is very low, because we can say we have a super high accuracy, but that will be like really depending on the location, so on the local accents, etc. So before we'd like to go into questions, I would like to give you a short demo, if that's okay.
Give me one other one, and that's the last comment I want to make on this sheet. It says so the Nexio system, for example, as in the integration within the communication system, it's not a typo. It's literally just 1 day. So if we have a system and you want to set it live, it's just a matter of flipping a switch. And we've done that already for a dozen of systems currently, and it was really, really easy also for the end customer and the partners we're working with.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you. I hope you see my. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
I stopped sharing, so hopefully you can share now.
Oh.
You see it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So this will be just a really quick demo. So normally we demo with the headset, with the Nexio and stuff like that, but this is easier on the screen.
I'm not seeing his screen. Is everyone seeing his screen? I'm not seeing it.
Yes.
I am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead then.
Okay.
But by all
Great.
means, go ahead.
Okay, awesome.
It's been
So-
recorded, Angela, so no worries.
Okay, so I'll just do a really quick demo and then we can do any questions, etc. But basically, here you go.
Welcome to Burger King. How can I help you today?
Hi, can I get a Whopper?
Sure, adding a Whopper. Would you like to make it a combo with fries and a drink?
Yeah, sure.
Great. Which side would you like?
Give me the fries, please.
Got it. Adding fries. What drink would you like?
Pepsi.
Got it. Adding pepper. What drink would you like?
Oh, Pepsi.
Got it. Pepsi it is. Anything else?
Can you give me the Big King XXL without cheese?
Sure. Adding King XL without cheese. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Great. Your order's all set. Please pull up to...
Yeah, so it's in zlotys for for right now our demo. So sorry, it's not dollars yet. So basically, it's a basic demo, but you can also make it a bit more like complex. So for example, you can ask,
Welcome to Burger King. How can I help you today?
hey, what desserts do you have?
We have 3 desserts: affogato, Malinova Love Sundae, and hot brownie. Which one would you like?
Give me the one with the least amount of calories.
Affogato's the lightest at 180 calories. Want to try it?
Yes, please.
Great. Adding affogato. Anything else?
Yeah, so we can continue the demo, but we can also do a bit more complex demos. But basically, it allows you to do pretty much everything. On the left, we have a contextual menu that changes based on your requests, and it is like Justin already said, it's fully it's unstructured, so you can do however you want to order. Yeah, so this is a really short demo. We would like to take questions. Let me stop the sharing. And happy to demo, of course, for you a bit longer privately, if there are any questions.
Yep, we have a question from Justin.
This is a question for the Vox guys, but also just anyone that's out there that's already doing voice AI. And this is, how important is it for you to have the digital base station in order to maintain the integrity of the audio? Is this something that you view as like critical or just nice to have?
It's a very nice to have. So the quality of the digital system, so in this case, for example, Nexio, is much better than if you take the EOS. However, it is working on the EOS, but we have one feature that doesn't work on the EOS, and that's basically the employee assistant. So the employee assistant that you can talk, that only works with a digital system like Nexio.
We have another question from Casey. Hi, Casey.
Hi, Casey.
Hi, friends. Yeah, both demos were great, so good job. I'm impressed also by the caloric requests and having it understand that. That's pretty cool. I haven't seen that before. I'm curious, when you say faster and adapting to the local language, does it also take in context speed or cadence? Like, for instance, both of you speak pretty quickly, which, because you need to, it's a demo and you're trying to hurry through, which I should with my question, but also we're in a hurry and that's how it works. And we're also in a hurry in the drive-through lines. And are they going to understand me? And how much time is that really saving? Is it 5 seconds? Because at the end of the day, it's going to be throughput that's putting dollars in our pocket more so than redeploying labor to another area. So how do you think about that?
True. So right now, also, what our demo is saying is quite a lot. So if that's what you mean, so it's quite a lot of like text, basically. This is being fine-tuned based on your actual human. So if your human agents are saying like have a really short phrasing, then our system will adapt and basically also use very short phrasing. So that way we can lower improve the throughput. So you're right. So part of the fine-tuning is listening in how the human is responding. For example, we're live in Australia, and there they say, hey, how are you doing, mate? Basically, it's a slightly different sentence construction that we're adapting for. So I fully agree. This also has to do with speed, and where it's more important to have throughput, we can go low. It should be shorter sentences. I agree.
Thank you. Yeah, to Tammy's point, dependency of upsells is great. So I don't doubt that. I just was curious about how people speak and how you felt. I'm in Oklahoma, so we're real slow.
Well,
I'll just
thank you.
add really super quick before we move on.
Sure.
I haven't really seen a ton of difference in terms of menu board time, AI versus non-AI. And also it's really important to watch how many upsells you're offering during the peak periods, because it can actually slow the line down in some cases.
Absolutely.
Where we're seeing it faster is really just the staff are able to like make the drinks faster. And so it's like making the labor inside the restaurant more efficient. And that's what's creating the throughput. It's not shaving like the 5 or 10 seconds off the menu board.
All right, guys,
Exactly.
we have to move on. So thank you all for your questions. We are going to end with SignalFlare.ai, and we have Tammy Billings on the call. So hi, Tammy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey guys, thanks for the invite. Also, I've got Mike Lukianoff, our CEO, on the phone, as well as Oliver Wagner, our Chief Product Officer, and Melissa Doolin on the sales team with me as well. So if anybody has questions, I'm sure we can field them. But next slide, please. Okay, so what is SignalFlare? SignalFlare is a decision intelligence platform and for restaurants. And for those of you who don't know what that is, decision intelligence involves big data sets, decision modeling, advanced analytics with machine learning. That's really where our AI comes in, and predictive simulations. Unlike other companies, though, we are not just a straight software. We are software and service. So there's a strong collaboration component that is a part of decision intelligence. So next slide. In terms of making decisions, we help restaurants make these high impact decisions around things like their product, their price, their promotion, and essentially what's happening in their place of business. So we can answer questions like, can I remove an item from the menu and still have the same frequency and reach? How much can I raise my price that a customer can tolerate in the next few months? We help restaurants price in new markets, which most people can't do because we have a model that doesn't even require POS data. We help with promotions where we look at, who are my customers? How are they reacting to this? What's the ROI on my marketing? In terms of what we can see in the markets, we can answer things like, is demand increasing or decreasing? Are my stores cannibalizing? What is happening in my market generally? So we can answer those questions because we sit on a foundational layer of composable data. Next slide. So what our data looks like, if you can imagine, we are pulling in consumer data. We use the largest source of mobile data available. It's about 170 million phones. That gives us insights into consumer demographics. We pull credit card spending data and also use the customer feedback that we get from a client. At the store level, we pull in item level comparative prices. We pull in transaction level detail, which includes point of sale, loyalty, online ordering, as well as that guest satisfaction. At a market level, we're pulling in things like regional economic data, demographic data, and we pull from all these sources. So we're really starting, what's different about us as a company that might do pricing is we're starting with your real customers' behavior in the market. And we have fused all these data sources together. So we have a massive data set that we can license. So for bigger companies like Jack in a Box, we could license something like that to use in their own models, and we can share that through an S3 bucket or potentially, third-party tools you might have. We also use that in our own modeling. So next slide. Because we're experts in data, we are essentially changing the way that we use data. So previously it was, extraction, transformation, and then you'd load it into a new system. Snowflake as a partner is enabling us to extract, load as is, and then layer transformations on top of it. So we never touch the core data source. So for anybody who is using Snowflake, we essentially just sit right on top of that. And right now we're working on building specific native apps through Snowflake that would allow you to do things like, if you are a PAR customer and wanted to work with us, you could essentially go in, use the app to extract the data from PAR, have it sitting in your Snowflake instance, and we could begin work without having to go through like weeks of exercises and data retrieval. So this is something we do to help restaurant companies get their data up to speed for use in these AI and machine learning models. Next slide. What we're doing, the sort of components of decision intelligence and how we're looking at decision modeling is essentially we've used those two big data sources to create proprietary metrics. The first metric is where we look at your actual customers' purchasing power. What is their ability to spend? Are they spending money on housing, on energy, on gas? We also look at the demographics that we pull from the mobile phones, as well as what's happening in their particular area. We take that metric and we compare that against a restaurant's competitive intensity. And this is where we're not just looking at how many restaurants are in an area, we're saying how many restaurants are in that area and redefining the trade area based on the available dining population. So who are the actual people that are going to those stores? And so these two metrics are proprietary and they become our North Stars in guiding customers. And we can do this with just an address combined with the data set that we've built. So next slide. In terms of how we're using, because that was one of the questions, how we're using AI for this call, I've asked Mike Lukianoff, make sure you're on mute because I'm going to kick this over to you. We've had a lot of talk about AI and machine learning over the last call, but Mike, do you want to talk really quickly about some of these tools that we are using in our modeling?
Yeah, and without getting too deep, but I think as Tammy, laid out here, we're doing a lot of different phases, from pulling the rawest of the raw data to blending lots of different data sources, all the way to creating very sophisticated models, including simulations. So we're using a lot of different techniques from end to end, from artificial neural networks and transformers and BERT models and so forth to clean and sort and match the data so that it actually has meaning, and we can match different words and menu categories and so on and so forth at the very first mile of the data, so that we're matching POS data to menus to locations and so on and so forth, so that before we even begin the models, we're cleaning and sorting and matching data before it starts going through and entering some of the more sophisticated models. We use a lot of ensemble models for grouping stores and customer data based on their economic situation and making predictions as to what sorts of groups and cohorts of people and stores should be grouped together. Our data science team is always, oftentimes we start with one methodology and end up with another at the end. But of course, the folks on this phone will understand that, when people are talking about, the machine learning model, it's never really the machine learning model or the AI model, right? It's often, a broad series of experimentation before you end up, getting to the wide series of different models that are actually going into it. you know, a lot of the models that we end up using, you know, a lot of, you know, Markov chain, you know, Monte Carlo and neural networks, you know, to get where we're going at the end.
And if people have questions more about specifics, Mike can answer those at the end. Next slide, please. So another part of our usages of AI is being able to simulate what is likely to happen. So when we work with a customer on a pricing exercise, we essentially come to them with 3 distinct scenarios where we have run the models on risk. So a customer knows what is likely to happen before they ever actually take that action. And we actually go back afterwards and do the post analysis. But so in this example, we have 3 distinct scenarios, each with risk, and we can see essentially like what's going to be the impact to each category, or where is that increase going to come from. So my note here says no recommendations without collaboration. This is not you're left alone with this piece of data. So next slide, please. We work very collaboratively. Like I said, we are not just software and not just service. So essentially, once we go through the onboarding, which is really the data cleansing and preparation, we're then forever managing your data going forward. The decision modeling we talked about, the advanced analytics. We also do ad hoc requests. So people might be asking us questions like, you know, is this marketing effort of ours working? Or why is this market underperforming the others? And we're able to answer those kinds of things. So pricing is our beachhead, but we're using those data sources for a ton of other insights. And then the final thing that we're working on is really trying to help people with that last mile. So once, you know, most of these vendors that do pricing, they will deliver a spreadsheet at the end that says, here's our rec for the old price and the new price. They don't model risk. And they don't really help you execute the change at the POS. We want to be that vendor. And so each company that we're working with, and thank you, Patrick, for saying that you work with us. That's true. We really want to solve that problem for them, right? How do we go from a spreadsheet to putting that into action? And then here's a case study with Freebirds, if anybody would like to check it out. Essentially, we have their permission to use this. They needed to take 2%. And if you've ever worked in this space, you know that to get 2, you usually need to take 4, right? So you increase your price 4% so that it flows through after the loss and trade downs to be at least 50% of that. And actually they needed 2 and we got them 2.4.